everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the sun sign forecasts for the month of February. And in last month's description, I shared a little bit about the way in which the sun sign and the ascendant work together and why these solar cycles are important to watch and listen to. And in today's discussion, little opener, I'm going to be talking about something that's really fascinating, to be honest. It's always been a way in which we've understood astrology. And today we're going to be talking about something called a neutrino. Okay, the neutrino stream, the neutrino field, the neutrino ocean, however you wish to find it. It is the Aquarian age, in my opinion, word or terminology for the word for prana or energy or chi that we have labeled as a way to understand information and the way in which we experience this universe. So what is energy? What is the way in which we are having consciousness and the way in which we understand the spectrum of light? So neutrino and the neutrino stream is a neutrino itself is a very small particle, okay? It's actually smaller than an atom, and its mass basically penetrates through atoms. And basically what happens with a neutrino is that it contains information, okay, of everything that it passes through. So it permeates the totality of our entire reality in which we experience, and that is how we actually get to understand the astrology impacting us, how we get the planetary archetypes, and how the information passes through us. Okay, it's no coincidence that in the ancient times, we would have a lot of teachings, esoteric teachings, in which the sun would be a way in which we would absorb photon energy, and we would basically have our cellular memory activated through that experience. That's why, if you notice on the internet, there's a lot of things about sun gazing or, spending a great deal of time activating yourself through the sun. The same, obviously, with plants and stuff. It's not a coincidence. And so the information that moves through our reality is this thing called the neutrino ocean, the neutrino stream. And like I said, it was prana, chi, energy, however you wish to describe it. And there's, like I said, these little small particles that are incredibly tiny. They're incredibly tiny, okay? And then in the description below, I've got some links for everybody to go and read and check this out and to educate yourself on, because it's a really fascinating thing to do. Science is really trying to understand this in a very deep way. And so what the neutrino does is it basically moves through the sun, and the sun permeates these neutrinos, and as it basically comes through Earth and it moves through our body, we have all the information imprinting our consciousness, imprinting our body. And this process is the way in which these planetary energies influence us, like I said. All right. And it's according to a system of knowledge, 70% of the neutrino is actually coming from the sun, and the rest of it comes from the universe in itself. And the collapsed stars permeate information. And as it moves through us, through everybody, okay, it moves through us and it basically sticks on us for information, and it moves through and carries information. And that's how we basically are evolving our consciousness, which is why I've come to understand that these sun sign forecasts are really powerful pieces of information to understand, because the fact that we can have the sun sign, so my sun sign Scorpio, your sun sign whatever, the sun, as it basically manifests itself and it permeates the earth, and the neutrino information goes through the sun and through your chart, it activates your consciousness, it activates your template. And this template basically reflects to you the nature of how your consciousness is evolving in this lifetime. So watching your astrology has become something so fascinating to me even more, because as it opens up this dimension of reality, we get to see how much the universe is consistently supporting us with what we have come here to evolve. And that's why, for me, understanding these sun sign forecasts and understanding them through an evolutionary cycle has brought an immense amount of wow, I really actually like this. I really actually enjoy understanding how these things are influencing us in a massive way, more so than I had in the past. So neutrinos, neutrino stream, this is how this information gets imprinted through us. And I wanted to share a picture with everybody over here. Let me just go over to the screen and you can still hear me. And on the right-hand side, you see a guy standing over there and the sun permeating the neutrinos, the information being reflected from the sun. The sun contains light. The light is obviously what we are in consciousness, and that moves through us. And there are approximately 65 billion neutrinos moving through your body every minute. So the capacity for us to actually experience these neutrinos moving through us is so incredibly large. And you can see on the left-hand side over here, the sun, neutrinos from the sun, right? It basically comes from the center of the sun and it moves through all the planetary systems and permeates through Earth. And that's how we obviously are impacted by this. And it's really, really fascinating. And like I said in the description below, there's a couple of links that you can click on to go and read more about this and see some of the experiments that science is doing at the moment to capture this. And according to the way in which they've been able to capture this, only 6% of the 65 million neutrinos has science been able to actually put it down and say, hey, we can spot these things called the ghost particle. So this is a really, really fascinating thing for us to be able to actually track the way in which our consciousness is being imprinted from the neutrino stream. And we're having this happen to us all the time. That's how the nature of the universe moves through us. And we're constantly watching this process just unfold in our way. So really fascinating stuff. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little introduction. And coming up right now is your sun sign forecasts. Hello, Taurus friends, and welcome to your forecast for the month of February 2017. And I hope you're well. Okay, so we'll start off with the 2nd of February, and we're looking at Pluto. Okay, Pluto is a very important player in the chart. Okay, always looking to Pluto gives us a very deep understanding of the nature of what is the overall story here, right? So with Pluto being in your 9th house of your astrological chart, and I'll keep on saying this for you guys all the time, you're dealing a lot with your core belief systems, okay? Your life in itself. Watch how a lot of people around you, watch how you are reestablishing a way in which you perceive reality. And this is a very, very subtle, but incredibly powerful paradox there. Incredibly powerful way in which your life is changing. And because Pluto itself takes an incredibly long time to move through the constellation of Capricorn, right? The experience of what I'm talking about here is probably only going to begin to really sink in once you reflect back on how your life has changed since 2008, especially around your core philosophy or truth. Now, if we have a look, the sun, the next step in our horoscope explanation is the sun. And the sun is transiting through the constellation Aquarius. And so that affects your life direction. Okay. What is your life direction? What gives you a sense that when you make decisions and choices in your life that provide you with the idea of purpose and what you feel your career is about, your exactly that, like your vocation. You've been focusing on a lot about that since the 28th of January. Sorry, not the 28th, the 19th of January, when the sun entered Aquarius. So since then, up until the 18th of February, you're going to be dealing with the sense of, okay, what is my life direction, right? And some of you might have some opportunities come around. Watch for opportunities coming around. Watch for other people coming into your life and giving you hints and understandings and a sense of what do I want to do in terms of making serious decisions for my life path. Okay. And that's something that I really want to amplify for everybody. And I'll be talking about this in the next forecast. When you look at these transits, when you look at these influences, okay, you're here to watch the stuff. You're here to be able to watch what comes into your life, what the universe brings you, what your higher self is bringing you. And by watching and observing, you're able to actually then pick up the cues in terms of what direction you should be moving into, right? And that's how you effectively use this information. So for you, as I said, with this 10th house transit, this solar experience of what is my life direction, a lot of people will be coming into your field. You'll be very sensitive to this type of stuff. And there'll be little cues that will be given to you. And it's not about like mentally going, okay, was that a cue? Was that a cue? It's just about watching what comes into your field and waiting for the transit to end. And then as the transit ends, there's usually experiences that leads to an insight or an epiphany, okay? So this is sensitive around life direction, okay? So you've still got Saturn transiting your 8th house of your astrological chart, and Saturn is making a square to Chiron and Venus. So of course, this symbolism over here is very much still about your relationship to loss, your relationship to things that are ending for you. You're still dealing a lot with the transition and emotional growth around abandonment, betrayal, all of the unconscious fears that are obviously coming through to the surface for you. And with Venus being in the constellation Pisces, but overlaying into your 11th house, this means that this is a great opportunity to kind of like get a deeper sense of meaning towards what life is for you. What is life for you? Okay. And I suspect by really tapping into that type of vibration, a lot of the insights that will arrive through this month will have an incredible amount of influence if this perspective that you are experiencing and watching and getting in touch with will, like I said, will influence this belief system, Pluto, and the sense of life direction. Okay, so let me try to make that a bit more clearer. This is about getting in touch with the deeper meaning of life, getting in touch with what is what does give you inspiration, what does give you true sense of service to inspiration. I'm just going to use the word inspiration there because that's what it is. It's about like, this gives me meaning. And then through those two things, it will kind of like spur this idea of, okay, so this is how my core belief system's changing. And this is the life direction I wish to decide to go in. Okay. So if we quickly move over to the 3rd of February, you can actually see there, 3rd of February, we've got Venus then moving into Aries. And this is a big deal for us, okay? Both Mars and Venus are now in Aries, and we're kind of moving into the space where there's a lot more energy available for everybody on the planet. For you guys, not so much, and it's not necessarily there's something wrong with you, it's just that the sign of Aries influences the Taurus sun sign, your constellation, where it's about surrender. It's about going into retreat. It's about going back into your cave and spending some time just with yourself. Okay. So this is very much a time as both Venus and Mars move into Aries and they transit your 12th house, which is this over here. This is about really just coming back home. It's coming back into yourself. It's coming back into the deeper meaning of life. Rest and retreat. Just calm, relaxed. Because of course, when Venus and Mars enter Taurus, which is your sign, that's when everything's going to kind of like give you this boost of energy. And if you've given your body this sufficient amount of relaxation and chilled outness, then you'll have like just abundance to give, right? So this is very much about taking a chill pill, as it were, and just kind of relaxing, which I'm sure that you're very good at. Okay, so something to note in terms of the theme for 2017's February is the fact that Jupiter, right, as you can see over there, Jupiter now moves into retrograde motion. And if you have a look on the left-hand side, there we go, on the 6th of February, Jupiter moves retrograde, okay? And for you, Jupiter has been transiting your 6th house of your astrological chart. It's been transiting the experience of how do I become competent? What is natural growth and maturity? And how do I look at all the things in my life that I would like to improve upon? And so these themes with Jupiter as it transits the Taurus sixth house, it's asking these questions. Okay, I would like to become more serious with what gives me meaning in life. Okay. An example that I could give you from my own personal life is a lot of the material, a lot of the way in which I present myself to the world and how I do my work had come through me actually going to a college here in Sweden and learning about the different ways in which you can create media. And part of my sixth house experience, part of my kind of like personal growth experience was having to also engage where the language was not my natural, it was my second language. And because of that, I not only got an education in Swedish, but I also got the ability to interact in an environment where I developed these skills. But it was a very big step for me. It was a very like, okay, so if you want to do this, this is part of the package. So a big part of the package for you, Taurus, is, okay, you want to get serious with your life. You want to get more competent with the way that you do things. There are certain things that you're going to have to look at and say, I need to grow here. And so Jupiter retrograde for the period of about 3 or 4 months that it's going to be retrograde is going to ask you to reestablish a connection with what this means for you. Okay. So this is a great opportunity to come back into what you really are essentially looking for in your life and asking yourself, where can I expand? Where can I grow? But not in a growing sense of like taking risks. I'm talking about a growing sense of, okay, I'm going to get an education that supports this ability for me to do what I want to do. Or I'm going to spend a couple of hours doing reading on material that expands my sense of knowledge. And I'm going to be able to then use this knowledge as a way for me to become more competent in an area. Okay, so do you get my drift there? Okay, so on the 7th of February, we actually have Mercury moving into Aquarius, which is a big deal for you. And that will obviously move into your 10th house, right? So your house of life direction. And watch how communication will start to, from the 7th onwards, start to come into your life. And you'll get a lot of messages, right? They'll come at random sporadic moments as well. So pay attention to people coming into life and saying, oh, you should try this out, or you should give that a bash. Okay. Then we've got a full moon lunar eclipse happening on the 10th of February, which is a really big deal, to be honest, because this full moon lunar eclipse is going to set the tone for 2017. And I think that this is a really great opportunity for you to pay attention to where you are feeling accepted in your life and where you are not. And this is going to really influence the way that you guys go ahead with what gives you meaning. Okay, so for all of us, we're really going to get into this idea of what is meaning. Okay, so, and then on the 14th of February, we've got Jupiter in conjuncting Chiron, which will of course set in stone all expectations that are no longer the idea versus the reality. So this, I feel, for everybody on the planet is going to really bring to us what our expectations are on ourselves and where they are extreme, and we're going to have to get in check with that. And then on the 18th of February, the sun moves into Pisces, which is a big deal because, of course, as we transition into a new sign, the solar cycle will then begin to influence a completely new evolutionary cycle. And so for you, this is going to move into the 11th house of groups, and it's going to join Chiron, Neptune, South Node, all in your 11th house. So this is where you're going to begin to shift away from listening to, okay, what is the meaning of my life in terms of life direction, to what type of groups do I want to belong to that can support this process. Okay, so watch out for things coming into your life and becoming more sensitive to friends and the right kind of group that really amplify a deeper sense of meaning for you. Okay, and then of course we end the month off with the solar new moon, the solar eclipse that's happening for us, and this will be happening on the 26th of February. Okay, now what's something that's really interesting to note on this solar eclipse is that it's in Pisces. There it is there. You've got Mercury now in Pisces, and you've got Uranus conjunct Mars And this is making a connection all the way there. So you can see there's a huge T-square that's happening. 21 degrees Uranus, 18 degrees and 22 degrees there. And to me, this Pisces solar eclipse is going to ask us the question, okay, so what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? Ask you the question, how do you want to find the deeper meaning in life? What does give you the sense of joy and fluidity that highlights your personal meaning here? And it's landing in your 12th house, so you'll become very, very aware of what are the right groups and how they're supporting you. Okay, so this is an awesome opportunity. If you didn't catch the forecast, the year forecast that I created, you can email me and purchase the download that's available over here. It's a great insight to the whole of the year, and I talk deeply about the nature of the Pisces solar eclipse and, of course, the lunar eclipse that's taking place in February. Okay. All right, my Taurus friends, thanks very much for listening today. I really hope that you have a fantastic month, and until then, take care. Bye-bye.